all. My name is Cole Wright, and I am the host of the Three Wiggle Golf Show, where we talk shop, always go 4-2, and never, ever three-putt. First, thank you guys for being here and supporting the show. If you don't know, Mondays we release a new episode of our weekly wrap. There we talk about the previous week in professional golf, who won, who lost, who's trending, and then we give our expert picks as to who we think is going to find themselves in the winner's circle the upcoming week. Along with that, we'll have guests on the show twice a month to talk about their life, their businesses, and their journey and love for the links, if you will. And without further ado, let's get into this episode of the weekly wrap, episode 3. So to kick this week off, we had TGL, the Tomorrow Golf League, the simulator, semi-simulator format. Honestly, I thought it was really cool. I really enjoyed that they made it spacious. They really did the best they could to pull as much of the real golf elements into a simulator league as you can. So it's spacious for one. There's 30 or 40 yards, between the tee box and the screen. So, you actually get to see the ball fly a little bit, which is cool. The rotating green with the bunkers, real sand. Again, really, as good of a job as I think you could do for what they're trying to produce. It seems to be the TGL. So we'll see where this goes, if it takes off, if it has the ability to spark, what's the right word, to spark some competition, and see if anybody else is going to try to do this. But first things first, this has to be a success. I did see it had more views than, what was it? I want to say college basketball maybe, or whatever it was that night. I could be misspeaking there. I probably am, but nonetheless, I thought it was really cool. I really liked the TGL, and I'm excited to see, where it goes moving forward. And then the other aspect of it that was really neat was the heartbeat, the shot clock and the heartbeat. A lot of people on social media are talking about how they would like to see the heartbeat in real golf. Well, that's there. I can assure you, when the guys are competing to win a golf tournament, there are nerves there. There always are, and there always will be. However, if we were to implement the shot clock, which I am a huge fan of, and I think that we should do that, that increases the amount that those hearts are going to be beating out on the golf course. And so you don't really need to implement that over a speaker, like they did at the TGL. I think that was just more for, some sparkle and pizzazz. But ultimately, the shot clock should be there. There's a lot of things about golf that need to be kind of modernized with the world of sports, if you will, and a shot clock is certainly one of them. So all in all, TGL was really cool. We'll see how it continues to evolve. And then this week we had the Sony Open, obviously, but we also had the start of the Korn Ferry Tour season down in the Bahamas, and love to see those guys just getting off to a hot start. So yesterday was actually day one. This week and next week, the scheduling for the Korn Ferry Tour is a little bit different. It's Sunday through Wednesday as opposed to Thursday through Sunday. But a lot of guys down on that leaderboard that have PGA Tour wins, like a lot. So just a few that I picked up that I wanted to share with you. So Adam Long, he won the American Express that's coming up this week in 2019. Kevin Tway's got a couple wins. Cameron Champ's in the field. He's got 3 wins. Bo Van Pelt. There's a lot of guys that have won and competed many years on the PGA Tour. And so again, just to reiterate for you guys out there that are listening and watching and may or may not know, the Korn Ferry Tour is an absolutely ball-in field of golfers, elite competition, and the score suggests that. The course that they're playing is the same length as the American Express. We're talking like a 70-yard difference. And the difficulty may not be quite as difficult, but the skill is there, and you're going to see that in the scores. The guys are going to shoot 20 plus under par. And so stay tuned for that. My pick for that Korn Ferry Tour event is Cameron Champ. First off, I love the guy's golf swing. I think he's got a fantastic golf swing. And then second to that, I hated to see him fall out of the FedEx Cup, pointsless at the end of last year, because he's won 3 times on tour, and he's just incredible driver of the golf ball. I mean, his club head speed is way up there. I think it's 24, 23, somewhere in that neighborhood. And he just pummels a golf ball. And it's definitely the strength of his game. But obviously, the scoring aspect is the most important part. And unfortunately, he just didn't do that well enough last year to keep his card. But anyways, down in the Bahamas, this week's Korn Ferry Tour event, I'm going with Cameron Champ. And then again, we just mentioned it. So the American Express, Palm Springs, out in the desert, in California, which, by the way, let's just touch on that really quick. Prayers up for LA and the fires out there. It is a horrific thing to see, really scary and bizarre to watch. I mean, to just see a city just be engulfed by flames is really horrible. So hopefully, the resources will become available to really make some progress and containing and repairing that community from the fires. So we'll stay tuned on that. But the American Express is this week. I wrote this down as I was prepping for the podcast. My pick. I picked Nick Taylor. So we had Sony this past week, and Nick Taylor won the dang thing. And so now I'm 2 weeks in, picking the winner of the golf tournament to win the upcoming golf tournament. That didn't happen. I can prove it because I wrote down. Here, I'll just show you. You see that? Where is it? Right there. Nick Taylor, 4-time winner. Well, now he's a 5-time winner. Okay, he won yesterday. He's a 5-time winner on the PGA Tour. He's having a great last few years. I mean, the Waste Management last year, and then the RBC Canadian Open, the year before, which was just electric, that eagle putt that he had on the last hole. But anyways, I'm going to go with Nick Taylor. He's playing good golf, and I think that he's got a chance to win. Is he going to go back to back? I don't know, but he had a really good week, and so we'll see. Also, to go back to the Sony before we get too much into the weeds on the American Express, is the headlines that I wanted to point out to you guys. So Bryce Garnett, we mentioned him last week. He had another really good week. He made the cut, finished T30th, put up a 67 in his final round to move up the leaderboard just a little bit. And then Hideki, who was my pick to win the Sony because he had won obviously last week at the Century, he finished T16. So he played very respectably and had a good week. Just needed a few other extra putts to really go in and support his push for a win. But anyways, T16. And then Spencer's pick was Mav McNeely. He finished T45, kind of blew it on the last day. I wouldn't say blew it. I mean, he probably wasn't going to shoot a 62 or 3 like he would have had to done to fly up the leaderboard and contend. He finished T45, but shot a 73 yesterday. And then Nick Taylor, obviously the headline, like we were just talking about, the guy's just playing good golf. There's just nothing else you can say about it. He doesn't do anything extraordinarily well. He just does every part of his game really well. He doesn't drive it incredibly far. He's not the tightest iron player. I mean, he's got a solid short game, that's for sure. It's above average on tour, but he did all of those parts of his games really well this week. So kudos to Nick Taylor, man. Like I said, I'm sticking with that pick. I'm taking him this week, so we'll see. And then we'll segue that into back on track with the American Express. So like I said, Palm Springs out there in California, and this is a really, really cool golf course. It's interesting to see this time of the year whenever the grass has gone dormant, and they got a PGA Tour event going on out there. But nonetheless, it's a good event. And like I said, I'm going with Nick Taylor. Unfortunately, as you obviously can probably tell, Spencer was unable to make it on this episode with me, so I don't have a pick for him. But we'll and see if he puts something up on his social media or whatnot to try to get a little skin in the pot. You know what I mean? Not really skin. It's not money, but his 2 cents. There we go. And then this week we also have the next Korn Ferry Tour event, which is the Bahamas Abaco Classic. And that's, like I said, that's ending this Wednesday. My pick there, like I said, is Cameron Champ. So we'll see how that goes. Guys, this is my first episode solo, and something I had been wanting to add into the last 2 that I forgot is I wanted to just impart a little 3-wiggle wisdom to you guys each episode, just something to share, some food for thought, something for you to consider. in your own way. And if it helps you, great. And that's fantastic. If it's something you can apply to your own golf game or your life, great. If it doesn't, and it doesn't resonate with you at all, then throw it out the window. Don't even worry about it. What I wanted to talk about was in reference to the YouTube video that Grant Horvat put out a couple days ago with Eldrick Taunt, Mr. Tiger Woods. First off, I'm so happy that Tiger is in a place in his career where he's willing to exhaust some time of his own and supporting the YouTube medium of golf, because it has a huge audience, first off, and secondly, his name just carries so much with it for golf that even if it wasn't YouTube, even if it was like MySpace back in there or something like that, it would have gotten the views, right? So what I wanted to touch on was what that video was about, and really the underlying messaging that Tiger was trying to get through to Grant, which was get the ball in play. Grant is accustomed to just hitting draws. He doesn't really hit fades often. And he went to that lesson and said, hey, Tiger, I want to learn how to better hit my 3-wood, my woods off the turf. And also I need help getting it in play more frequently, off the tee, hitting driver better. And, he steps up there and he just starts roasting 3-wood and he's hitting good. And Tiger's, that says, what's wrong with that? And then he gets on, pulls driver out of the bag and does the same thing. And Tiger says the same thing. What's wrong with that? And he kind of expresses to him, the getting it in play when I have to. And the first thing Tiger does is he tees the ball down for him, says, hey, tee it lower. And he tries to get him to just start working it the other way to hit cuts. And Tiger can hit cuts. Obviously, he can hit draws. But the main point that Tiger was trying to bring home was that at the end of the day, it is more important that you get a ball in play than it is that you just bomb driver down the fairway 300 yards. Especially when there's risk associated with that. If you have, hazard left, OB right, or you got OB up both sides, or hazards up both sides, it's very crucial that you have a fairway finder, some type of predictable driver swing that you can put on the golf ball, that the shot shape and the trajectory is going to be pretty dang consistent every time, that you can, first pick your side of the tee box. If it's a dog leg right and you're going to hit a cut, maybe you're going to go to the left side. If it's a dog leg left and you hit a draw, maybe you're going to go to the right side, whatever the case may be. But starting out with, hey, use a tee box to your advantage first. And then second, what's that shot? What's that? It's going to have a pretty consistent trajectory and shot shape that you can repeat more often than not. I see this with amateurs all the time, is that they say, I just need to figure it out. Well, you don't need to figure it out. You just need to play to your game, which is you slice it 60 yards every time and you set up on the left side of the tee box. Well, you're already making mistakes before you even swing the golf club, so understanding that aspect of your own game is really, really important. And to Grant's video, like, I would even tell him, dude, if you're not, because what happened was he tried to start hitting cuts like Tiger said. He just pull hooked him every time. I think he maybe hit one decent fade out there, and it was really just a straight ball. But most of the time, he's pulling it a little left of his target line because he's trying to swing left, but he hits a draw and he swings to the outside. And when he's trying to get swinging left, he's not holding the club face off long enough through impact with an open club face to be able to hit that cut. And so ultimately, again, he was just missing it left. And what I would say to Grant in that situation is, dude, tee it low, that's fine, but hit your low rope and hook, something that you're confident with. And Grant knows he's going to hit a draw most of the time, and that's great. So play to that strength instead of, and I understand, again, in that video, he just wanted to try to get Grant to see it differently and hit the ball a different way. But I don't know if Grant's going to go home after that video and just start working on learning how to hit cuts. I think he's more than a good enough player to play to his own strengths and his own predictability to go out there and just hit draws. So what I would say is, Grant, take that advice, tee the ball lower. Don't worry about hitting so far, but hit your low running draw, something that's going to go out there. It's going to carry 260, 70 yards, and I might roll out to 290. Yeah, it's not the teed up high flying tomahawk that carries 290, 300 yards, and now he's got 320, 330 maybe out of it, but it's in play. And that's the most important part. So I wanted to touch on that and bring that to your guys' attention, just because I think it's very important. I mean, off the tee, especially for amateurs, is where most of the strokes are being given away, because if you lose a ball off the tee, that right there costs you a lot. It costs you a lot more than a duff chip in the rough next to the green. So take that, for what it's worth, but I would really, really advise have a process first and foremost. And for me, what that looks like is you get on the tee box, you figure out what the hole's doing, and then you give yourself as much cushion as you can off of the tee. So you use every inch of the tee box. Again, if you hit a huge slice, for me, I'm going to the right side of the tee box and I'm playing that to as big of a landing spot, that dispersion, as I can. So pick your side of the tee box. Secondly is decide on what your shot shape is. If you just have to get something in play, then hit your cut. If it's a cut, if you play cuts, hit your cut. Even if it's a dog leg left and you really should hit some type of draw or hook around it, but you just don't feel comfortable with that, that's okay. Go to the left side of the tee box and hit your cut to the far right side of the fairway, or even the right rough. But now you're coming into the green from the right angle. Now you're playing to your strengths. And what you're not doing is two things. You're not compounding errors, and you're not becoming filled with indecision. And that's something that can really, indecision is the worst thing that you can have on the golf course, because you're the person that has to decide to pull the trigger and swing the golf club. And if you have any inkling of indecisiveness in that process, you are most definitely, probably more likely than not, going to hit a bad shot. So use the tee box to your advantage, pick out what ball flight and trajectory you're going to hit, and then commit to it. Okay. I cannot express that last part enough. Commit to it. Clear your mind and accept whatever result is about to come, but clear your mind and just commit to whatever it is that you think is going to give you the best probability of putting the golf ball down the hole where you want it to be. Right side of the fairway, left side of the fairway, even left, right rough or left rough. But as long as you're in the right position on the hole, you're going to be happy with that, because I can promise you this. Again, we'll use the dog leg left as an example. If you try to hook it, and you just double cross and you pull it into the woods, okay, we'll say, now you're already playing for a double bogey. Probably you're just trying to figure out how to get this thing back in play. But let's say that you actually hit one good and you get over the corner a little bit and you think it's okay, but there's still some trees up the left side of that fairway going into the hole. Now you have trees to contend with. Whereas if you just miss it right, and it's not even in the fairway, but you miss it in the right rough, now the hole is still open to you, even if that means you have a direct line at the green, or if that means that you can push the ball up close to the green, short, still in the fairway, and give yourself a chance to get up and down for par. But again, the reason that's important is because you're playing to your strengths first off, and then secondly, you're playing to your ability to stay committed. And whenever you hit one to the left and you think you're okay, yeah, you had that little bit of indecisiveness off the tee, because now you're having to carry trouble, but also now you have indecisiveness on that next shot. Okay, well, can I be aggressive? I can't. Now I have to just punch straight out sideways into the fairway because I have trees in the way. And you start going down that spiraling pattern that's not going to bode you well for the upcoming holes, because as we know, confidence is everything in sports and competition. And the opposite, whenever you hit it to the right rough or right fairway and you have a clear look to the green, but maybe you have a bad lie and you're not going to be able to get it there, at least you can just take your medicine. You can stay confident and play really aggressive to a nice open spot short of the green in the fairway, and just say, okay, well, I can rely on my short game to give me a look at par inside of 10, 15 feet, maybe, if that's where you think your caliber of short game is. And that's okay. That's just fine. But again, what we don't want to do is we don't want to be putting ourselves in positions hole after hole after hole that diminishes our confidence and our ability to commit to a shot. And that's what I'm going to leave you guys with. So take that with what you will, and hopefully it's something that can improve your golf game. A little three wiggle wisdom for you guys on this Monday. And then lastly, I just wanted to say thanks again. Thanks again for watching. Thanks again for tuning into the podcast on YouTube, whatever platform you may be listening on, Spotify, Apple, Amazon. I will ask that you guys please share the show and leave a review. That really helps us grow it, and make sure that we're putting out the content and information that you guys can resonate with and utilize to improve your own game. So that's pretty much it, guys. We'll see y'all next week. Stay tuned. The week after next, we'll have my next guest on the show, Corey Wooten, defensive end for the Chicago Bears. So he's coming up in just a couple weeks. Other than that, see y'all next week.